Yeah, now we'll get started with our fixed income securities, wherein we have almost seven or eight. I think we have around 8 chapters, working out to 12% of the weightage, right? And some of them are pretty small in nature, whereas some of them are decently sized. So the 12% weightage is starting off with this topic, basic features or basic understanding of the debt securities. Out of all these chapters, I think 2 or 3 of them have some level of numericals involved, whereas majority of them are concept oriented kind of topics itself. Whereas in level 2 we get more and more in terms of doing some numericals, very heavy numericals and calculations coming up with fixed income security. So typically the bonds, loans, mortgages, these are the various kind of things that come under this fixed income kind of securities. So to start with, every bond or every fixed income security, there is something called an indenture associated with it. It's like a prospectus, which talks about all the obligations of the company, of the borrower, with respect to the lenders, the do's and don'ts, or what is the amount that has to be paid at what intervals of time, what are the payment modes, if at all the company defaults in terms of payment, what are the other options that are available. Like probably I have lent something to you and you have not repaid my money. So what was the collateral? All these things are clearly identified as a part of the bond indenture. It's like a prospectus. So every bond has an indenture spanning for multiple pages, probably hundreds of pages, like a prospectus. So whatever is there in the prospectus, the company has to adhere to. So it will even talk about the various covenants that are associated with the bond, wherein the do's are typically classified as affirmative covenants, the don'ts are associated with negative covenants. So basically what could be the do's? Okay, the company has to maintain a current ratio of more than 2, some kind of do's. The company has to maintain a minimum profitability margin of 15% every year. If it doesn't maintain, then probably the lender has his own, or the bond investors have their own way of asking the company to accelerate the payments or some such kind of restrictions they can put up. So the do's or affirmative covenants could be there from that standpoint, and don'ts, which are the negative covenants, which talks about probably the company should not issue any additional loan, should not raise any additional loan without any information to us, without any information to the existing bondholders or lenders. Or probably it may talk about the company should not give any dividend more than this much amount to the equity investors during the bond period. So such kind of restrictions could be there on the bond, and that is one of the prime reasons probably the company also looks at manipulating their financial statements. If you remember, in FRA we talked about this concept, talking about what motivates the people to overstate the earnings or understate the earnings, and one of those motivations or one of those pressures was the pressure from the bondholders, because they have these kind of covenants as a part of the indenture, and to meet these covenants they have to maintain some financial numbers, otherwise the bondholders will have will try to exercise some kind of control over the company. So to avoid all these things, they try to manipulate with their financial statements and all, so that all the covenants are in place, and there's nothing big serious that happens. So when we talk about any fixed income security like a bond, some of the key features compared to equities, we see that every bond, it's not a lifelong kind of a stuff. It has a kind of a maturity period, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, depending on the type of issuer. We can look at the various type of maturities, very short term maturity to a very long term kind of a maturity is there. Then another term we have to be comfortable with is the par value or the face value, which is nothing but the amount that would be paid on the maturity. Right? Whenever we talk about the par value, so it is the amount that would be paid during the time of the maturity of the bond. So, and there is something called coupon, which we have discussed earlier also. It's an continuous annual payment or continuous periodic payment that would be paid by the issuer to the holder, to the lender, by the borrower to the lender at regular intervals of time. We need not call it as interest, because it could be more than the interest for the period, or it could be less than the interest for the period. It's a equal periodic payment from the borrower to the lender, or from the bond issuer to the bond investor. So it can be paid at various intervals. It could be said, they can very well mention it in the indenture that it would be paid on an annual basis or a semi-annual basis or some such kind of a basis. Sometimes they may even make it fixed or variable also. Right? Floating rate bond, when we say the coupon is paid on a floating basis. In some periods, probably 6% would be paid, 6% coupon would be paid. In some years, 7% coupon could be paid. So it could be floating. Or, okay, for the whole 5-year maturity, every year I will pay at the rate of 6% on the face value of 1000. The market rate could be 8%, the market rate could be 4%. But this is a feature of the bond. This is not the feature of the market. The bond is saying, as a feature of the bond issuer is saying, I'll pay you 6% of the face value every year on a semi-annual basis, and I'll pay you the face value or par value on maturity. This is what will come from my side to you. Right? So these are the features of the bond, but nothing to do with the market at all. So when we bring in the investor into picture, okay, this bond which is giving these features, at what price this guy purchased the bond? Right? If he has purchased the bond at 980, probably his annual return is something different. If he had purchased it at 1020, his annual return is something different, because that is completely based on the purchase price. The interest is purely based on the purchase price, but the coupon has nothing to do with the purchase price of the bond at all. Right? By taking the purchase price as well as the payment the bond is giving, whatever the interest we are arriving at, which is nothing but your IRR, or the bond term is YTM, that is the interest during the entire period of the bond. But that need not be the same as the coupon which is being paid by the bond. And in the bonds chapter in FRA, we have looked at, if the coupon is equal to the YTM, the bond will always be sold at par. Coupon is more than the YTM, bond would be sold at a premium. Coupon is less than the YTM, bond will be sold at a discount. Right? So this is exactly the same logic we have discussed when we talked about the bonds and liabilities chapter in FRA. Now again, with respect to the coupons, we can talk about the various structures in the coupons. The most common structure being the zero coupon bond, which means they don't pay anything intermediate. Everything is paid only on maturity. No regular payments. Everything is paid only on maturity, just like your fixed deposits. In a fixed deposit also it's the same situation. Nothing is paid. If you have deposited some money today, nothing is paid in the middle, right? Everything is paid only on maturity. So a zero coupon bond is more like that. Even if you have taken a 5-year FD, the most common thing is you are paid everything at the end of 5 years only. That is what we are calling as zero coupon bond. So zero coupon bond, because they don't, as per our logic, the coupon is less than YTM, because coupon is zero. Coupon is less than YTM, so it should be sold at a discount to the face value. Face value is 1000, so probably it should be available to you at 700 or something, depending on the maturity that is there. So based on this, if you try to compute the IRR, that is what will come out as the YTM for this bond, right? Then sometimes we also have option free bonds, means there is no option, it's only a straight coupon.